you for the next 3 hours. Hour one of Jon and Jim, wherever you're listening. Maybe you're in IB today. What a spectacular day. Oceanside, by the water, wherever you are. Downtown, we're with you for the next 3 hours. Jesse Rogers will join us. Great voice on baseball. Works with Jeff Passan at ESPN. He'll join us at 4 p.m. His thoughts on the upcoming trade deadline, the future of balls and strikes and umpiring in the major leagues. He wrote about that today. Jesse Rogers will join us at 4 p.m. Paul Garrison, we'll talk some San Diego State football with Paul Garrison at 4:30. As we get you ready right now for the Padres and the Phillies game 2, our Talkback Mike question of the day. Is it just us? Are we on an island when we find the Mike Shildt interactions with the media weird? How do you feel about them? What do you make of the way Mike Shildt interacts with the media after games? You can hit us up on the Talkback Mike, open the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, tap the red Talkback Mike. We'll play your 30-second responses later this hour. You talked about it in the update. It's same old story here. I said last night that if his goal is to deflect attention away from his team that is under 500, he's done an amazing job at it. I don't really think it's his goal. I don't think he's playing 4D chess. But the stories, Jim, continue to be what Mike Shildt says postgame. We'll hear it coming up, as opposed to his team's lack of performance. Randy Vasquez, anemic offense, 8 consecutive road losses, can't beat left-handed pitchers. If Mike Shildt's trying to take the attention off of his team that's losing, I think he has found a way to do that with his interactions with the media.
Yeah, I don't think that's what he's doing. I don't think he is crafting this master plan to deflect and take the heat off of Randy Vasquez throwing meatball after meatball after meatball last night.
Right.
Or the team once again not being able to hit a left-handed pitcher, or the team now on an 8-game road losing streak, or the team being winless on this road trip, or his starters not really giving them any length in games. I don't think he's trying to do that. I think he is being as genuine as Mike Shildt is. Honestly, I really do think, because I went back today, John, and I tried to find as many post-game press conferences from Mike Shildt in St. Louis after losses as I could.
Okay.
There's not many on YouTube that I found, but there was a couple, and there's sprinkled in there here and there the same things that we're hearing here in San Diego.
Okay. That's interesting.
Not to the extreme that we are hearing them here, but there what I found was just a little bit here and there where I'm like, okay, yeah, that same thing he does here, same thing he does here. And I mean, do we have Mike Shildt? Okay. So there was a couple things with his press conference last night. Again, it's crazy how we're sitting here talking about a post-game press conference from Mike Shildt rather than them losing their 4th straight. But I don't think it's a master plan. I don't think he's doing this, and after the press conference, he's like, looks like they'll be talking about that press conference instead of us sucking again.
True, but the result is the result. Like, is there more attention on Shildt or is there more attention on Manny?
Well, I think that we spend a good amount of time on this show in particular, talking about Manny's struggles this year. We've had a lot of shows, John, where we highlight what Manny's not doing and what he needs to be doing and the struggles of him on how they correlate to the team. It's just whenever Mike Shildt has these types of press conferences, usually the next day or that day or whenever he speaks is a like, what are you talking about type of mentality from us in particular.
Agreed. So, all right. So we want to hear from Mike Shildt.
I do want to hear from Mike Shildt.
And let me just say this before. When we hear from Mike Shildt here, listen to this and say, is this a disservice to Padres fans or not? When you hear something like this off a 9-2 loss, do you think this is a disservice or not? 877-767-4760 or 70470. Start it with team or hit us up on the Talkback Mike. This is Mike Shildt's opening statement following a 9-2 loss in Philadelphia last night.
Yeah, great question. I appreciate it. Long-term zero. I have no concern about this club at all. I have complete confidence. This too shall pass. We're in a situation where today was the first game that's really gotten away from us in almost all season, right? Every game's been right there. We're and I have the privilege of seeing how this club goes about it, how they compete, their heart, their preparation, all the things. We're in a stretch now where we're not getting it done. But now I don't want to say that there's no level of disappointment or frustration. That's two different buckets, right? Long-term concern, none, zero. I know we're going to end up right where we want to end up, and that is in October. Right now, yeah, we've got it, to your point, starting pitching. We haven't been able to get deep in games. Weren't able to hold them there today. And, we weren't able to put together some consistent at-bats. But, one of that optimistic point of view is a couple of things. Look at the defense we played today. Look at the defense we played over the last 3 games in New York. Today was, almost a virtual highlight reel. I've had to run a cutoff and relay, a lot of different things we were able to do. Crony making plays, even, DP in the 9th inning. When I see guys laying their heart out there, regardless of circumstances, it says a lot about the club. We're going to have moments like this. You just are. Again, don't love them. Got to spin out of it. Got to figure it out. I get all that. Good news is this group and I have that experience, and we'll figure it out. We're playing a good club, and we've got to be a little better consistently. In some cases, a lot better consistently. The other thing that was really encouraging tonight, that's a great example that I don't want it to go unnoticed, was Manny. We talk about effort level and that's appropriate. We're all under question. But I've taken the stance as far as this is a guy that's shown up with an ailment that's real, a soft tissue, situation that, he's trying to monitor, and has gone out there and played. Today, yesterday I talked to him after we got in here at the hotel. Like, how did you feel? Actually, I talked to him after we both got ejected. So that was a little time for some bonding. He's like, man, it's the best I felt. I feel like me again. And then we went and saw 2 great examples. One, it's a ball through the middle, Turner can't get to, busted out of the box. He's in a position to go to second, hustles into second, sets us up for a run. And then the last at bat, again, 9-2 game. Turner makes a great play on him, really nice play, nice swing, and he's getting down the line, giving the kind of effort we want. So, those are all positive things that I want to make sure we point out.
Mike, understanding the long-term optimism and lack of concern in the short term, you've got Nola and Sanchez coming up. What this team looks like offensively. How is there any concern about getting out of this?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mike Shildt. First question, 3-minute rant about is there any long-term concern? And he completely spun that thing like a politician. Like, not only is there no concern, Manny Machado is hustling, and we had a virtual highlight reel defensively, but that wasn't the question. So I guess my question is this, and I said it yesterday. Is that a disservice to Padres fans? Like, I feel like Padres fans are way smarter than what he is selling. Like, when I hear something like that, it's like, you're trying to spin me on something, and this fan base is way too educated. They're going every single night. They're watching every single night. You're 2 games under 500. So to me, that's the disservice. If you want to spin a little bit, spin a little bit. But to spin you have lost 8 straight road games, and you lost yesterday 9-2, and it was a virtual highlight reel, and Manny Machado's hustling. Sir, this is a Wendy's. Like, you're completely spinning this thing.
Yeah, this is not Jones's Little League team. You don't need to praise these professional athletes for making a great relay play. Guess what, Mike? That's a job. That's their job. They're in the big leagues to do that. If they can't do a relay play and they can't execute that, then they shouldn't be in the big league level. Like, it's mind-blowing to me to hear him speak after losses as bad as last night's was, and frankly, how bad this road trip has been, to spin it in a way to try to like hypnotize the fan base. Like, this isn't as bad as you think.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
This isn't as bad as you think. And it's kind of comical to hear Shildt refer to last night as the first game of the season that's gotten away from them. Mike, bro, stop. You guys have gotten beat up in a lot of games this year. If you remember the last time you faced the Phillies, you got your ass handed to you. Do you remember the Yankees series? You got your ass handed to you.
Well, forget about that. How about you lost 8-0 to the Marlins and 9-1 to the Rockies this year.
You've been
as well.
swept 3 different times this year by bottom feeders in baseball.
Yeah, like every team. Like I don't have a problem with the team getting blown out occasionally. Like them losing 9-2
That
alone
happens. It
is
happens.
but you don't need to defend it like in our blowout loss. Here are all the great things we did. No, you got blown out.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened. You can't sell that any other way. Again, the only way to sell that, if the Phillies last night at 48-24 got blown out by the Padres, no problem. If I'm Rob Thompson, we got blown out tonight, but I completely trust in this team. We are playing great baseball. Here's why. We're 48-24. I got no problem with it. You know what, Rob? You're probably right. Blip on the radar. You're 48-24. This team's under 500 in the bad National League, on the outside looking in the bad National League. So he doesn't have the same excuses that Rob Thompson could use. It is the story. Honestly, the story right now for Padres fans is like Shilttisms and what he says. Like, it's amazing how that's happened. I never anticipated it. I had no idea what we were getting into. I had no idea.
None.
And this is where we are, where after every single loss or every single low point, what did Mike Shildt say?
Right. Yeah.
It's and it's not going to change. You're halfway through the season. That's just, and by the way, he doubled down. We talked about it last night. He said, we'll play in October, essentially.
Yeah.
So he's made his bed, but then again, his bed was already made. It's a 2-year deal. You either make the postseason or they move on anyway. But he said he's got no concern and this team's going to make the postseason. So that's where they got to get to.
And he's really lucky that baseball is a regional sport and not a national sport like the
Right.
NFL.
Or be on Sports Center.
Like that it's being talked about every day on like First Take or Get Up or whatever other shows are out there, like Pat McAfee. He's lucky because I do feel like what he is saying is insanity, that people will be sitting there listening to him speak and be like, bro, did you watch the same game as us?
Mm-hmm.
Did you just watch this? The team just lost 9-2. This is the 4th straight loss. This is the 8th straight or 7th straight, 8th straight, 8th straight road loss for your team, Mike. You are now 2 games under 500. Now, again, the 500 mark is kind of like the bar that is the National League right now for the wild card race. So you're fine in the grand scheme of things. But just looking at this micro press conference and all of the press conferences Mike Shildt's done this year, it is crazy to hear him talk about his team in a light that is not what this team is on the field. They're not a good base running team. Frankly, they don't put together defensive clinics all the time. They're not a good pitching team right now at the moment. Their offense this year against left-handed pitching is atrocious. Okay. And Manny's going through his worst season of his entire career. To just randomly out of the blue credit and talk so like highly of Manny Machado for hustling, which is what, he should be doing and every player should be doing, tells me that Friday night when he didn't hustle down the line is something that he may have viewed as like, okay, that can't happen again. So I'm going to try to spin this and make it like a positive, like, hey, forget about the time when Manny didn't hustle down first base and he would have been safe in a close 1-run game. Let's talk about when Manny did hustle.
Yeah, when you call it out, you're basically, and Darnay Tripp made me first aware to really acutely listen to this from last night, but by calling out his hustle, you're essentially saying he doesn't hustle, which is something a lot of people have said for a long time. And I've been saying throughout the course of this year that there's separate rules for Manny Machado for whatever reason. And he's led you to believe that's okay because what he does, I'm talking about Manny, is produce beyond other players. He lifts teams, he can carry them. But what happens when you're having your worst year and you don't hustle? And let me clarify this too. It's not just about hustle. It is true not all players give 100% max effort on all plays, obviously. But you can't give no effort ever. And that's what Manny Machado has done multiple times this year. We've talked about them, including Friday. Even if you're hurt, you cannot give no effort. You can't get down to first slower than a jog ever in the major leagues, which is what he did on Friday. So it's not that he isn't giving 100%, but you can't be pushing 0%. There is no spot for that. I don't care if it's Manny Machado. And by the way, Manny's not being Manny. So it should be called out. But you can't. Nobody runs down the first base line like Manny Machado occasionally will run down the first base line. And for whatever reason, he has gotten away with it here. And it should be called out. And truthfully, Mike Shildt kind of called it out. Even though he was praising his hustle, he's basically saying it doesn't always happen. That's why I'm praising it.
And how, I guess, kind of embarrassing is that you in a 9-2 loss,
right?
You're the star player of the team. You're the captain, and your manager is calling out a regular, like, hustle play.
How about him getting down the line of the double play? He was doubled up on the play. It ended the game.
So let's now go further into the press conference.
Okay.
And here is Dennis Lin asking about what you just talked about the giving full effort on every play or picking and choosing your spots.
Back to Manny, the effort level you alluded to tonight, is that what we can expect from him every night going forward, or is that something that's going to be maybe up and down as he comes in and feels different coming back?
Yeah, I think that's something that I want to have some grace in, and I'm not ever going to alibi lack of effort. But also, again, if you play 162 games and you're playing with something you're banged up on, being able to pick your spot to regulate is part of it. It just is. It's widespread. It has been. It will be in this league. Not to say like not giving effort appropriately when you have it. That's the key. When you have it, you give it. And so he gave it tonight. And like I said, he just came off a soft tissue issue, and he was able to get himself back to where he was today. So I think any regular you're going to see play, there's going to be some regulation of effort level, whether it's Manny or pretty much anybody in this league. Somebody's going to post 150 to 160 times a year. Great question.
Yeah, but that's what I had not heard that until right now, and that alludes to what I just said. You still can't, quote unquote, lollygag. You can't give no effort because you're regulating your effort. Like, that is a complete spin job. And you heard the truth in there from him, which is recognizing he doesn't always play to his fullest ability. He doesn't always hustle. He said it in the opening statement. He did. If you didn't hear it, listen back to it. And he just said it there. He recognized that guys basically do that. He basically excused his effort because if you watch the game, if you know the game, it's what happens.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. When I watched him run down to first on Friday and blow a bubble and basically be between a walk and a jog and then be in the field the next day, he wasn't giving anywhere near the effort that he should have been giving.
So the big picture here, and I think why this whole Mike Shildt act after a game is just so tired, is because we ask a lot of times, who is going to hold this team accountable when they go through losing streaks, or they underperform, or they underachieve, or they don't perform to the level that they're expected to perform at because of the money they're being paid? We ask the question, who is going to hold them accountable? And right now, Mike Shildt is the farthest person from holding this team accountable that there is. Maybe indoors it's different, but again, I don't think that's the case. But publicly, he is not going to broach or get anywhere near holding this team accountable for them underachieving and losing as badly as they lost last night.
As poorly as I think of his interactions with the media, I would think all that more poor of him if the same messaging he has with the media is what he's messaging with his clubhouse. Because for a manager, what matters is your clubhouse messaging more than your messaging to the media, right?
Mm-hmm.
Other than having a media message get back to the clubhouse. It's the worst possible scenario. If someone in the clubhouse says, hey, Manny, did you hear what Shildt said about you? He gave you a backhanded compliment. I'm making it up. That's the worst possible scenario for Mike Shildt. The second worst possible scenario is to not communicate effectively with your clubhouse. I don't believe that what he's saying publicly is what he's saying to the clubhouse, hence the disservice.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to pull a fast one on Padres fans, and this would never fly in a major league clubhouse. Having been in clubhouses, having been around coaching staffs and managers, this would never fly with a team. Ever.
I I think this is who
And
he
I
is, dude.
and I don't.
I think this is who he is, man.
I really don't.
I think this is who Mike Shildt is.
But how come? What about when we saw of him in St. Louis in the postseason? Because we saw none of those characteristics. Fiery,
that's not
adrenaline. That's a
towards,
completely different person.
But that's towards the other team, John.
Yeah, but that was to his clubhouse.
I know, and by no means are me and John saying. And again, I feel like we always have to reiterate this, like because people get it confused. We are not sitting here wanting Mike Shildt or asking Mike Shildt to like call out players publicly nonstop. Like, hey, Randy Vasquez, he sucked tonight. Like, no, this is a team game. And from a team standpoint, we're asking of Mike Shildt to just be honest. From a team aspect, the team is not playing well. The team has lost 8 in a row on the road. They've lost 4 straight. They're 2 games under 500. They're not playing good baseball. They haven't played good baseball consistently all year long. But yet, if you listen to Mike Shildt when he's talking about the team, it's like everything's fine.
But do you think, and we can break here, and then there's an update on Fernando Tatis Jr., why he's out of the lineup, which could be concerning. Do you think that he has any communication with the club that is about the great defense they played last night, about what else did he say last night? About Manny's hustle. Do you think even in a 10-second interaction on his way in when he's hitting guys in the backside, great hustle, great defense will get him tomorrow? I don't buy it.
I think yes and no. I think it's the same type of message, but said in a different way. I don't think Mike Shildt is.
He better be saying it a lot different way.
I don't think Mike Shildt's different in the clubhouse. I really don't.
I do. All right, Fernando Tatis Jr., why is he out of the lineup? That's next on Jon and Jim. All right. Why is Fernando Tatis Jr. out of the lineup tonight in Philadelphia? We have an update there. That's next.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy Sports. Padres, they lost again yesterday to the Phillies 9-2, but don't get mistaken, it was a defensive clinic by the Padres, and Manny hustled that one time. So they have now lost 4 in a row on the road. They game 2 of that series, 3:40 first pitch in Philly, on the mound today for the Padres. And last night, the Boston Celtics closed out the Dallas Mavericks in one of the most underwhelming, boring finals in NBA history. They have won now their first championship in over 16 years and 18th overall as a franchise. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
Good news is the Padres are healthy. Oh, wait, they're not. Fernando Tatis Jr., this was curious. He has not sat out a year.
Correct.
And he wasn't in the lineup. You sent me the lineup earlier. I thought you were making fun of the social media, like, headline, being on the hill. I'm like, great.
No,
But then I actually looked at the lineup, and no Hassan came. All right, well, he has had a good year. It's his only second base hitting. And no Fernando Tatis Jr. Like, well, that's a little curious. You're not punting on anything. You wouldn't think. An underdog, quote unquote, in Philadelphia. Well, Kevin Acee reporting he's got a quad. So Toddy nursing a quad out of the lineup for the first time all season. Remember, he was really going until this road trip. And he did have a hit yesterday, but he's got one hit on the road trip. Toddy out. Padres trying to snap this lengthy skid. They're facing a really good pitcher in Aaron Nola. They're also not starting Hassan Kim. Odds are a little bit stacked against them. Putting it lightly here tonight without Fernando Tatis Jr. and in Philadelphia.
It would be just so baseball if they went out there and scored like 7 runs off of Nola tonight, and King pitched in the 7th 1-run ball. King could do it. Well, King has to do it. He needs to do it, because this starting rotation the last, 3 games has not been good. Cease on Saturday. Who was on Sunday?
Cease.
Cease was on Sunday. Who's on Saturday?
Someone else.
Oh, Major. Major on
Oh,
Saturday.
yeah, because he didn't allow any runs. We walked him.
Oh, sure.
Right,
He didn't allow any runs. Good job.
Wait, let's hear.
So Major on Saturday, Cease on Sunday, Vasquez yesterday. Those three guys were not good and have not been good.
Mhm.
And you need a good start tonight from Michael King. You need a good start from him tonight. You're going to need another good start from Matt Waldron, who's been probably the most consistent pitcher in your rotation right now. He's Jazz Chisholm's favorite player of all time.
Yeah, he says he has the nastiest pitch in baseball.
Right. And so tonight it would help the Padres a lot if Michael King went out there and, I don't know, shoved.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm not holding my breath, but what I am doing is thinking long game. I'm just thinking about this independent observer from the outside. We'll get your calls on this, by the way, 877-767-4760. Here's what I'm thinking about. If I'm Mike Shildt, if I'm AJ Preller, here's what I'm actually thinking about. Robert Murray reporting, by the way, the Padres are going to be aggressive at the trade deadline. Shocking.
Sky is blue.
But here's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about the long game. I need you, Darvish. I'm going to get him back. I need Fernando Tatis Jr. If he needs a day, give him a day. I need Manny Machado. I have no idea why he's playing if he's not healthy, but that's Manny Machado. If I can get my ducks in a row, so to speak, then I got a better shot than what I've been dealing with. And let me explain why. Major and Vasquez ain't working. You're playing every day for 27 straight days, 26 games in 27 days with Major and Vasquez. This is not a long play for success. I'm not excusing anything, but it is understandable. Musgrove, Darvish. What I need to do is I need Darvish back. I need Toddy healthy. I need Manny healthy. Shoot, I may even need Bogarts at some point this season. And this series in Philadelphia, this road trip, no matter what happens, is a bad road trip.
Yep.
No matter what happens, though, I still have more than half the season in front of me. So I just got to position myself, and maybe Preller's going to do it at the deadline. Maybe this team will get healthier, maybe not. I don't know what's going to happen tonight. And frankly, I won't be surprised if they lose this game here tonight. But again, it doesn't change the topic of will they have enough in the long game to get over the hump over the next 80 games? No matter what happens tonight, doesn't change that conversation.
What do they have enough to get through the next 20-something games to the All-Star break? And through the All-Star break, after that, where they have a daunting road trip coming out of, the break, which is through Cleveland, who is one of the best teams in the American League and one of the best teams in baseball. Washington, who is just as good as you. They have a bunch of your talent that you gave them for Juan Soto, and they're right in the mix as well. And oh, by the way, Baltimore, which is considered either 1A or 1B in the American League right now. So
the difference.
And then you play the Dodgers coming home right after that road trip.
Fair. But my point is more get healthy, because you have 9 days off in July. You had 2 in June. And June without Musgrove, Darvish, Bogarts, Manny has not been kind to you. Truthfully, if you want to get cute, and I doubt they'll do it in July, you can shorten up a little bit in your rotation. You have all these days off. You have 2 days off a week, multiple weeks in July. So listen, I don't think the season's on the brink. As critical as I am, I do not believe
it's not.
the season is on the brink, nor do I believe it will be on the brink at any point this month. I'd be shocked if it was on the brink before the All-Star game, the second or third week of July.
It's not on the brink, but this is a pretty important stretch of games. Would you agree?
They all are.
So
to quote you, April's important.
They all are important games. I'm just talking about where they're at right now as a team. Okay. How they've been playing. Same record as last year's team at this time.
Right.
Yes, I know the National League sucks.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I know the bar is very low. Okay. Which is they're trying to jump over, and good for them. But they weren't able to beat the bad teams to give them any type of wiggle room. And they're actually a bad team too. So anyway, but they don't have any wiggle room here. And I view this as an important stretch, because if you get through it, John, at the deadline, around the deadline, and you're 6-7 games under, how can you possibly, with good faith or anything that is resembling truth with this freaking team, say that you're in it to go out there and buy and sell off half the farm again for another blockbuster deal?
Right, but they did do it. Now, that's going way longer. That's more than a stretch. That's like a third of the season now to the trade deadline.
So a month and 2 weeks.
Right, which is a lot.
It's almost
not
a
a stretch. I mean, that's like the season.
Yeah, but there's a lot. But you have so many off days in July, and you're not playing a really full schedule in July. like because of how many off days there are, and it's the All-Star break.
I mean, if they were willing to do it a year ago, now not selling the farm and going all in, but not trading off parts, they had their mind made up, which I think is a bad idea. If at 49 and 54 last year they were willing to do it in a quote unquote better National League, then I would be surprised if they weren't willing to do it again.
So
this
that's
year.
like the benchmark is 49 and 54. Is that where they were?
They were 49-54. They swept Texas and they got to within their 52 and 55 ish.
Okay.
At the deadline,
Yeah.
3 games under, so 3, 4. I mean, you don't make a determination the day of the deadline, so they'll make a determination, a week out or 5 days out what they're going to do. But my point is, yeah, I'd be surprised if they were 4 or 5 games under 500 if they still didn't try to chase it down.
I would be surprised too, and it would be the conversation of like, what are they going to do? What type of team are they?
Right.
Because it would feel crazy for them at the deadline with the team that they've assembled, the amount of money, how much money they've invested in this team and trades and prospects and everything to then just say, we're going to sell. That would
the
be
team should dictate it, but
I
we'll
know,
see.
but
It
it's
should
crazy.
be based on the record. Let's go to Matt real quick, who's been very patient. Sorry about that, Matt. We've been, getting caught up in this. 877-767-4760. You're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for calling in, man.
Hey guys, all right. Just want to get to the bottom of this. Like, is it Mike Shildt and his nicknames and his post-game press conferences the reason Ha-Seong Kim's batting 220, Manny's got a 640 OPS, Xander Bogaerts is having a even worse year than Manny, arguably, and injured? I mean, it has nothing to do with Mike Shildt. It has everything to do with the Padres stars are not playing like stars. Fernando gets over an 800 OPS and everyone freaks out and says, oh yeah, we got Fernando back. No, I'm sorry. I mean, the Padres haven't even won with Fernando. I mean, he missed the 2022 season. It's not anything to do with Mike Shildt and his press conferences. And I just can't understand why you guys, I mean, if he is a mastermind, you guys are taking the bait.
But are we really, Matt? But stay there for 1 second. Are we really? I mean, do you think we haven't been critical of the Padres, the actual players? I mean, you listen because you just called in.
What percentage of it do you think is the Padres playing bad or missed opportunities by the Padres players? And what percentage of it do you think is Mike Shilt's motivation, bullpen management, putting guys in the lineup in the right spots? Like, give me a percentage breakdown.
Well, we're complimentary of Shildt in game. You listen to us. We're not ripping Mike Shildt. Why did you go to Jeremiah Estrada?
Okay. Then tell me what percentage is the players and what percentage is Mike Shilt's wrongdoing in post-game press conferences? Because the proportion that you give, Shildt bashing compared to putting it on Ha-Seong Kim, Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, like that's where this team is.
Dude, we killed. Thank you for listening. Thanks for calling. We've killed Machado. Nobody wants to hear us go on for 3 hours about Ha-Seong Kim. We're also doing a radio show, so we're not going to talk about Tyler Wade.
He's the manager of the team. All right.
Exactly.
So we're going to be talking about the manager of the team who speaks every single day to the media. If you want a percentage breakdown, Matt, 100% on the players. These guys need to be better. And we have criticized and tried to hold these players accountable at every stretch.
Hasn't worked.
And it hasn't worked. Okay. But in turn, when Mike Shildt is speaking post-game and he comes off as a delusional tryhard that is spewing a message that is not what we're seeing on the field, guess what? We're going to talk about it.
You have to.
We're going to talk about it.
Have to.
But we're not. But again, I think we've said, are we blaming the team's lack of success on Mike Shilt's postgame?
At no point we said they're 37 and 39 because of Shildt.
No.
And at no point have we said that. Thank you, though, Matt, for the call. On the other side, we can get your talkbacks. If you want to weigh in, what do you think of Mike Shilt's interactions with the media? Are we making too much of it? Like Matt said, you can hit us up on the talkback mic by opening the iHeartRadio app and searching for San Diego Sports 760. We'll play your 30-second responses. Plus, Jesse Rogers, ESPN, on the upcoming trade deadline, the state of the National League wildcard race. He'll join us at 4 on Jon and Jim. All right, your talkbacks on the other side, plus ESPN's Jesse Rogers on the upcoming trade deadline, the state of the Padres as well. He'll join us at 4. You're on 10 minutes. Talk back. Let's go to the phones. People want to react. Padres and Phillies underway in game 2 of their series. Let's go to Dave on line 6. We'll get to Vito in a moment. 877-767-4760. Dave, as always, thanks for calling in, man.
Yeah, thanks again, guys. And you keep getting some of us all fired up, so we've got to call you more often than we probably should. But nonetheless, look, here's the deal. Mike Shildt is Mike Shildt, and this is who he is. This is what he is. I've said it before. I'll say it again. He's a public relations arm for the Padres. You've got two choices. If you want to go there to get the cheerleader version of what's going on with the Padres, he's your guy. If not, ignore him. I don't know why we're spending all this time on what is the same pattern of behavior, expecting a different result with Mike Shildt. So on top of that, to go one step further from what Matt said, you know, he talked about all the players not performing. Matt, the players haven't performed now for nearly 2 seasons. So, you know, as I keep saying, guys, the trend is the trend. And unless you can show me through any credible analysis that it's going to change for the better, John, it's not. You're on the Titanic and the iceberg is in front of you.
Okay, that's fine. I agree. They're 37 and 39. I mean, okay. And if they double this out, they'll be a game out. Like they're not going to win 90 games. No crap. But they don't have to win 90 games.
I know. I think what we just want is like a better product of baseball on the field. We want guys that are making the most money on the team to perform up to their contracts. We want the manager not to try and sell us a bill of goods that is not what we're watching. We want, a team that has an amazing fan base that sells out Petco Park every single night be a much better home team than what they've been for the majority of the season. It's those things that everybody's asking. No one's asking they have to win 95 games or 100 games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I don't think all of a sudden it magically turns, but I don't know if it needs to turn. Let's go to Vito quickly on line one. Vito, you're on with. I mean, it needs to turn. I mean, they can't lose every game.
If the season ended today, John, they're out of the postseason.
Yeah, by a half game. Wow.
And
they're
so
insurmountable.
And they're in as Mike Shildt said, I mean, he was the one that brought it up. Hey, well, we're playing not really well baseball right now, but if the season ended today, guys, we'd be in the postseason.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Can't say that anymore right now.
If it ended tomorrow, maybe they would be. Because that's the difference right now.
I know, it changes every day.
Exactly. Let's go to Vito on line one. Vito, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
I truly feel that Mike Shildt, sorry, I almost said something mistakenly there. Mike Shildt talks at the end of these games. I think not exactly the dialogue is mandated, but I truly feel in my heart that the attitude and substance, I guess, of what he's saying comes from the front office. And I feel that in order for him to get the job, he had to spout this positivity out at these, press conferences, whatever they are at the end of games. So I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of where it is with him. And regarding the players not performing, it is true that these players have not performed for 2 years almost. But, the root of this problem, and I've said this many, many times on this show, there's a problem structurally, foundationally, philosophically with the Padres. It's deep rooted, and it starts with AJ Preller. He put these guys together. They haven't been successful. And what I'm really worried about is this trade deadline coming around. He's going to gut the farm for some piece that's not going to help them improve their odds by any substantial means. They'll maybe sneak into the wild card, lose the first 2 games, and say, hey, it's a success. We're coming back next year. And the same crap is going to happen again next season.
Vito, appreciate it. We're up against it. We can react to that in the 4 o'clock hour and play your talkbacks then. But Jesse Rogers from ESPN with more on the National League, the trade deadline, and these Padres to kick off hour 2 of Jon and Jim will join us next.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy. Padres Phillies game 2 of their 3-game series underway in Philadelphia. Scoreless in the top of the second inning there. And last night, the Boston Celtics blew out the Dallas Mavericks to win their 18th championship in franchise history, first in over 16 years. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
Previously on Jon and Jim.
No team's offense is built to overcome 7-1 and 6-1. Those teams don't win trailing by 5-6 runs. So, not to alibi the offense, but the pitching's been terrible now for the last couple of days.
So is the offense, John. It's like the offense is like showing up
They
at all.
scored 6 runs.
That was the fakest 6-run comeback I've ever seen.
That's fair. I don't disagree.
Now it's time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. We're with you until 6 p.m. We're talking about the Phillies and the Padres game 2 that's underway. And we're thrilled to be joined by ESPN's Jesse Rogers, back with us here in San Diego on San Diego Sports 760. Jesse, we do appreciate your time. We know it's busy. We're getting closer towards discussions about the trade deadline, even though we're still about 6 weeks out. But what's your national perspective on the state of the Padres in this very average National League? San Diego's lost 4 straight. They're 37-39. But again, the National League, nobody's really running away with wild cards. So what do you make of the Padres in this National League right now?
Yeah, I mean, they have as good a chance as any based on the way the National League is going. Certainly now, maybe there'll be a few teams to go on a run in the second half, but we're about at the halfway point, and a couple of 500 teams in the NL would make the playoffs, wild card wise, after the Braves. So, well, why not the Padres? I mean, right now they are the quintessential 500 team. They're league average in pitching, league average in hitting. They're dealing with injuries just like most of these teams. So if anybody can separate themselves, they'll have a shot. I mean, on paper, the Padres are one of those teams that could. Like, I don't know if the Nationals are going to separate themselves and become buyers. Just using that as an example of a team that's really overachieved. But Padres are a veteran team, good lineup, not great, good pitching staff, not great, but could get there. And, A.J. Preller probably has something up his sleeve. So I think Mike Shildt, righted the ship after the disaster last year. And, run differentials is okay. And I know it was good last year, but there's so many bad things happen in 1-run games and extra innings last year. It's normalized this year. And so, yeah, I think the Padres have a chance as long as 2 other teams don't run away with the wild card along with the Braves.
And speaking of A.J. Preller, you mentioned him. How surprised would you be if he does not make another big-time move?
I mean, yeah, I guess I would be. That's the easy answer, right? I mean, at least something to help that pitching staff with Musgrove's situation. I know Darvish will be back, but it's underachieved. It's underachieved at least a little bit. So I think it'll help that rotation in one manner or the bullpen or both. I think he's done his work in the among the position player group, even with Bogart's injury. You got to roll with your stars. You already added a rise, so I think he's set offensively, unless he does something on the margins. It's that pitching staff that needs to improve. So yeah, probably surprised. I don't know how big. We always assume it'll be big with A.J. Preller, but you never know for sure. There seems to be more than likely less sellers this year. So he's going to have to get creative and be aggressive with somebody.
Jesse Rogers, ESPN, with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Manny Machado as a Padre has had slow starts. He's had, MVP caliber years like 2022. He's also had some down years. We know he's coming off injury. We know he's been injured. But are you surprised that nearing the halfway point, like we said, I mean, he's got a 672 OPS coming into tonight. His OPS plus is under league average at 95. His WAR is 0.2. Like, is this who he's going to be this year, or would that surprise you if he never fully gets going at some point?
Yeah, nothing really surprises me when there's offensive struggles, even among stars. I mean, I guess if Ohtani struggled, I'd be surprised. But I feel like every team has a really good player who's had a good resume struggle. I'm around the NL Central a lot, and I could name 5 guys, one on each team that's had it. So I'm not that surprised. He's starting to get up there in age. He is coming off the injury. There's a lot of variance even with star players when it comes to baseball. He's probably on the other side of having career years and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, of course, it's a little surprising to see an OPS below 700, but what I'm saying is a down year is possible, for anybody not named Ohtani or maybe Bryce Harper. And so I guess I'm not that shocked because I feel like we're seeing down years from guys all over the league.
You're in Chicago. What have you heard about what the asking price is for Garrett Crochet?
Yeah, I mean, you know what they gave up for Cease. It's similar. It's similar. I mean, there's some differences, but some similarities. With Crochet, you're going to have 2.5 years. With Cease, it was 2 years. Cease had a little bit more of a resume with the Cy Young finish a couple years ago, but wasn't very good last year. Where Crochet is a first-time starter, but he's really good. The bottom line is teams go by recency bias, and if he continues to pitch like this for the next month, the way he has for the first 3 months, 2.5 months, man, I mean, the Sox should do well. Couple top 10 type of prospects at least is what it was kind of what I'm hearing. I don't know if you're going to get to 3 top 10s. That's like a Luis Robert deal. I'm not sure if you can get that for a guy like Crochet who has 2.5 years left and is doing it for the first time, but very valuable left-handed flamethrower. Has made every start, leads the league in strikeouts. So, 2 top 10s, a top 15, that kind of thing is what Getz is looking for. And remember, Chris Getz is a Sox GM in no sort of desperate mode. He wasn't when he traded Cease. He's not now. The White Sox are in the midst of bottoming out. They're not in the midst of going for it. So I don't think he's going to move off his asking price. So, like I said, a couple top 10 prospects, starts the conversation.
Jesse Rogers, ESPN, with us right now on Jon and Jim. And we all know there's a long way to go. I mean, the Padres are 37-39, but so is the entire National League. But if they don't get where they need to, like last year when they missed out on the postseason, what do you think that would mean for AJ Preller?
Yeah, I've been on a couple San Diego shows and have been asked that. He doesn't have Peter Seidler there, right? I mean, it's a difficult. I think his job is probably on the line. I think my standard answer has been, he's got to know that. He's got to know that. He had to switch managers again because of all sorts of issues, right? Okay, fine. They had some weird extra inning stuff going on last year. All right, let's go back and run it again. Now you're in a bad National League, and if you still don't make the postseason with that much money tied up, with that many prospects that have been on the move, I would imagine his job's on the line, but I don't know the situation now that Peter Seidler is no longer with us. So I can't tell you intimately if his job's on the line, but just like common sense says that it probably is with the amount of years he's been there and in charge.
With your time in the National League Central, obviously Mike Shildt coming from the Cardinals organization here in San Diego, it's still I guess getting to know him process with how he is with the media and how he manages games. But recently here, what he has said in the media is completely different than what we are seeing on the field. And I'm just curious if he was like that in your experiences with the Cardinals, where if the Cardinals would lose 10-2, you would look at every single positive possible and kind of not really talk about the games being really bad. Is that what the sense you get from Mike Shildt as a manager?
Yeah, a little bit. I always thought he was pretty good with the media. So if he's losing you guys via his message, that's a little surprising. I mean, every manager has that positive vibe he goes to, but you also have to be realistic. When you're 500, it's such a weird position to be in. You don't want to go overboard because you still have a shot. You can't throw your team under the bus because you're not out of it, but you're not playing peak Padre baseball if you're 500. So if he's not threading the needle the way he should be publicly, that's on him. He's a veteran. He's been around. I think he's a good manager. I mean, you could throw 28 names in a hat and they're picking, they're all pretty similar. A couple really special ones, couple that don't belong in the job. And certainly Mike Shildt is worthy of being a manager. But navigating a first-year market type of thing is always interesting. And when you are underachieving just a little bit, it's always interesting. If you're underachieving a lot, that's easy, right? And if you're great, that's easy. It's kind of when you're in the middle, it's hard to maybe portray the message you want. So I always thought he was kind of a straight shooter, but I get it. It could be difficult the first year getting to know a guy.
Jesse Rogers, ESPN, with us right now on Jon and Jim. So you wrote today a pretty significant story about the future of balls and strikes and umpiring in the major leagues. We've been talking about this ABS, automatic balls and strikes, potentially coming to the major leagues, I think, as soon as 2026. What's the latest there based on your reporting? And when it does come to the major leagues, what will it likely look like?
Yeah, so the tweak in the minor leagues isn't that big of a tweak, but the implication of what they're doing down there is large. And what they've done in the past is some challenge system and some full ABS, if people know what that means. It means robots calling every pitch balls and strikes, and then the other system is you get 3 challenges per game per team, and if you win the challenge, you keep it. Well, they've scrapped the full ABS. That is not coming to major leagues. If people want robot umpires calling every pitch, it's not happening. It's not happening. Either they're sticking with human umpires doing it all, or they're going to the challenge system. And it looks more and more like they will go to a challenge system. They want to perfect it. This is why it's not happening next year. I talked to Manfred about 10 days ago, and he's like, once we cross that threshold, we can't go back. So they want to make sure the system is perfect. So full-time AAA challenge system as of June 25th. In the International League, though, 2 challenges per game instead of 3. So they're still toying with how many challenges each team should get. I think we'll see the 3 per game system reach the major leagues in 2026. It's instantaneous. The catcher or the batter can ask for a challenge. The ump is told something in his earpiece very quickly. And if you win the challenge, you keep it. It really is about the egregious calls. This is not going to be about the borderline calls. I know everybody wants umpires to be perfect. It's just not going to work. They have technological issues. They'd have to change the strike zone if they went full ABS for every pitch. So they really I saw one of the worst calls last night in the 9th inning of a 1-run game here at Wrigley Field.
It was awful.
Yeah, you saw it. Terrible. That's the call you want overturned. I'm in agreement. We don't need the borderline ones all, because here's the thing. They haven't perfected the system, and they may not. So without the perfection of the system, I don't think they want to go to full ABS.
All right, then finally, though, to your point, is it recency bias, or is umpiring really getting worse? Balls and strikes.
Oof. I'd have to look. I've always been a pro umpire guy, only because everyone piles on. It's just it's so easy. I'd have to look. It does feel like maybe it's getting worse.
Right.
I think, here I'm going to relate it to this. Okay, you know how pitching has kind of dominated in recent years, right? The advancements in pitching have been amazing. Why can't hitters catch up? In my opinion, there's only so much hand-eye coordination you can improve on. Like, the human body can only do so much when it comes to hitting to improve yourself, right? Where pitching, you could do so many things with grips and this and that, and you can chase velocity. Well, I almost feel like that with umpires. Pitching has advanced so much. The sweeper, the velocity.
Sure.
I think it's become harder to be a great balls and strike umpire. So I do think they need help, and let's at least turn over the egregious calls, kind of like what we do along the bases. Like, even though close calls are turned there too, but let's at least start with that and see if that helps the game and reduces the amount of criticism umpires get.
Jesse, we love your insight. We really appreciate you taking time for our listeners here in San Diego. Thank you for doing it. Hopefully we can do it again later this summer.
Okay, guys. Good luck. Enjoy the Padres.
All right. Jesse Rogers, ESPN. Enjoy the pod. We're trying. We are trying absolutely to enjoy it. And there have been some enjoyable moments this year, and then there's been this recent losing skid as well. All right, so here's what we can do right now, because at 4:30 we'll talk a little Aztec football with Paul Garrison, but right now we can get to this.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Who's going to win next year's NBA title?
Well, you're right. The Boston Celtics are a
favorite,
plus 200 favorite.
That's pretty good. 2-1 right now to win the finals for next year.
I think that's
who's the next best?
Oh, I didn't.
Okay. I was curious, actually.
Yeah. Next year's NBA title, there's so much that's got to happen. Free agency and trades. And I mean, it's hard to not say the Celtics just because their entire team will be back presumably next year, right? But We'll see how good. By the way, after last night's game, I don't. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Why is Jason Tatum come off as very corny?
Has he?
Is.
Yeah, maybe. I was watching last night. I don't know. Yeah, he was crying before the game was over. You're saying
tried. I don't know if he. Maybe it's because I just saw it on social media. Someone put out there, at this exact time is when Jason Tatum will try to recreate the famous Kobe locker room title shot. And then he kind of did it. And then his after game was like, oh my God, we did it. He was just.
Yeah, I saw that interview.
It just was kind of cringe. I don't know. That's just how I thought about it. Maybe also because I don't like the Celtics. But
yeah.
Anyway.
So I would say that based on odds, the Celtics are prohibitive because the next best odds is Denver at plus 650 and Boston, you're right, is in the plus 200. So, yeah, like you said, there's an offseason, there's injuries, there's a full year. Who the heck knows? I do know this is not going to be like the Trailblazers. So, yeah, I'll say Boston because they got the best chance. Next question.
Will the Florida Panthers close out the Stanley Cup final tonight?
On their home ice, I think yes. It's going to be exactly like the NBA Finals where you get blown out in game 4 and you come home and you blow out that team to win the in this case Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I agree. Did you see that Edmonton, they've got this make them come back to Alberta. That's the big thing. Make them get in a plane and travel thousands of miles. I'm with you. I think it'll be a blowout. Edmonton was unbelievable the other night. They scored 8 goals. That's ridiculous.
I watched a lot of that game.
We were out. It was on. Yeah, they looked amazing.
We went out to a restaurant in Coronado, and we didn't plan on it, but we sat at the bar, and right in front of us was a 90-inch flat screen of the game.
We watched a lot of it as well, and I was happy for their fans because to get one. Canada never wins the Stanley Cup. Just to get one and to do it in front of your home fans, but to get it tonight when it's a clinching possibility for Florida, I say a 2-goal win for the Panthers.
When's the last time a Canadian team won Stanley Cup?
1993.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Montreal.
Crazy,
31 years. They have 8 teams. And it's been 31 years for any of those 8 teams. What?
For the Panthers.
They've never won.
That's crazy.
All right, next question.
Will AJ Preller make a blockbuster move this year?
He already has.
He's made 2.
Yeah.
How do you define a blockbuster deal?
Well, we'll count Crochet now. We've talked about him weeks on end. So Crochet or more.
You give up a top prospect or you trade for an all-star?
I think 2 top 10 prospects.
Or you trade for an all-star.
Yeah. Adam Frazier, though.
He still was a block. I mean, I consider that a blockbuster deal.
They had a Zoom press conference for him
because we couldn't be there because of COVID.
Right.
Yes.
So you think they'll sell off a good portion of the farm?
Yes.
Maybe a couple
because I just think this team is going to hang around the gray area.
I think so too.
And they're not going to completely suck. They're not going to be really good. They're just going to be average. And I think AJ Preller will view that as a have to strike now type of time. And I don't know how much the move will work.
Right.
But he's going to make a move because he loves to tinker.
I hope he does. I mean, I'm all here for it. I mean, that's the reason why he's been an absolute blessing from a marketing perspective. I think a fandom perspective, sports radio content perspective. And that's why, I mean, truthfully, I think it's a big benefit if he's actually back in 2025 because there's a lot to talk about. You have no clue what the other side looks like if it's not AJ Preller. I'd be surprised if he didn't try to chase this down because of what Jesse Rogers just said. He said, how could he not know his job is on the line? Now, you can't mortgage the organization because your job's on the line. Will he have final say to pull triggers on a crazy move that involves another trio of prospects, like a Soto move? Now, that's a big deal. But will he have the ability to move anyone but Salas and DeVries? I don't know, but if he does, I would be tempted to think he does it.
He sure as hell is going to try.
He's going to try.
He's
on the phone right now. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Next question.
How many seasons will Mike Shildt be the manager of the Padres?
Ooh.
I give it 2 tops. So this year and next year, but
2 tops or 2? Because it's a big difference. Because
well, if I say 1 year, then I don't believe they'll make the postseason.
Correct.
And I do believe, just because of how low this bar is, that there's a greater chance than not of them getting in. So I'll say 2 seasons. this year and then next year.
Okay, I'll go down that path with you because I agree. I think they'll find a way. Hey, listen, it looks bad right now. We all agree, but that doesn't mean it looks bad a month from now or 2 months from now. But it may. But what happens in 2025 that has his final year also is an interesting question.
Because you would think if this team stays around the same, like say they are an average team next year as well, 500 team.
Then they make a change.
And the National League is better.
Possible.
Then the conversation's different because like we always say, or what you say, if the Padres were in the American League,
they're in trouble.
The conversation would be way different than it is right now.
My
the National
tune would
League.
be way different.
Way different.
Yeah.
So what if things are flipped next year? The Padres stay, but the Padres remain the same, right? They're a 500 team. They have some nice stretches, but then they have some horrible stretches, right? Some injuries here and there. But the National League is like the American League this year.
I think that's a good point.
Where like,
eventually the National League will have a better roster of
you
teams.
would think.
Teams like St. Louis and Chicago historically can win. And like the Cubs will put money into it. Cardinals will put effort into it, and they've been down. So yeah, I think 2 is I'll join you in saying 2. I think 2 years is probably the right total for Mike Shildt.
I just don't envision them backing their way into the postseason, tripping over this low bar that I've been talking about to get in, and them losing in the wild card round to whoever. And after the year, the Padres announcing a contract extension for Mike Shildt. It just wouldn't make sense to me. It just wouldn't.
I agree.
Because why do you deserve a contract extension for getting in at 82 and 80 or whatever, and you lose in the wild card round?
They didn't give Melvin an extension off the NLCS, did they? Did not?
No.
Then he's not getting an extension, basically, no matter what happens.
Well, I mean, if I'm Mike Shildt,
and where's he going?
He's not going anywhere. He's not going to get. By the way, if anybody remembers, he never got interviewed for another manager's job until here in San Diego after he got fired. Right.
Yeah.
So
this will be his last managerial job.
Do you think so?
I do.
I don't think so.
Really?
I think
like you just said, he didn't get an interview anywhere else.
Well, I think now that he has this under his belt, people will say, "Oh, he's managed 2 places." Okay, we need some. If a team that is going through it, like the Miami Marlins, right, need the most positive guy in the world,
maybe
to spin everything when everyone's looking at dog crap in the corner there, and Mike Shildt has to say that's the best dog crap in the entire world. Then guess what? Mike Shildt's your guy.
On the other side, let's switch gears for a moment. San Diego State football. We are in the summer months, but it's coming late August for the opener for the Aztecs. What are the expectations? We take a look at that Aztec roster with Paul Garrison, who's been covering San Diego State football for the East Village Times, and he'll join us next. All right, so Aztec Fall Camp will start next month. Paul Garrison knows the program as well as anyone. What's he most curious to see? Paul Garrison, East Village Times, joins us next.
This update's brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy. Game 2, Padres Phillies, top of the fourth, scoreless in Philadelphia. Padres are riding a 4-game losing streak. They have not won on this road trip as of yet. And last night, the NBA Finals ended as the Boston Celtics won the NBA championship over the Dallas Mavericks, their first championship in 16 years and 18th overall as a franchise. Jaylen Brown won the finals MVP. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
Oh, by the way, because in about 10 minutes, we'll tell you how to win a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair underway through July 7th, Del Mar Fairgrounds, sdfair.com. But keep listening because in 10 minutes, we'll tell you how to win those tickets this hour. Believe it or not, next month, fall camp will begin for San Diego State football under Sean Lewis. Nobody knows San Diego State football better than Paul Garrison with the East Village Times. He's back with us on Jon and Jim. And Paul, we always appreciate it. So knowing that fall camp will get underway next month, what's the thing that you're most curious about when camp gets underway for SDSU? And thank you for hopping on.
Absolutely, guys. It is starting quarterback, right? I mean, this system that Sean Lewis has is supposed to be, kind of a dream for quarterbacks, past quarterbacks at San Diego State. Recruits have all spoken about just how great it is to be able to play in this system. But you have to have somebody who's capable of running it. And so I think the biggest curiosity until they name a starter is who exactly that's going to be.
Their schedule got released here recently, and I would be curious to see what your thoughts are on their schedule this upcoming season. Kind of tough, don't you agree?
Yeah, it is tough. I think that, part of if you're looking for a silver lining and the way that it's good is that since they play that week 0 game against Texas A&M, wait for it, Commerce, they get 2 buys, and those 2 buys set up in such a way that with a team that is still putting in systems it's going to give them opportunities twice to be able to kind of just work on themselves as they go into the next parts of the games. I think you could argue that some of their tougher games, Oregon State, Cal, are early, and there's a chance that you're going to catch them a little bit unprepared because they don't know what Sean Lewis as an Aztec head coach what that's going to look like. And then you hope that they can make those adjustments and then be able to see where they're at as they go through those bye weeks.
Paul Garrison, East Village Times, with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Paul, as you know from covering this program, I mean, Sean Lewis has brought in a ton of skill. I mean, an unbelievable amount of skill for this offense. What do you make of that? I mean, I'm looking at it, and again, it's surely on paper, and it feels like to some extent people are sleeping a little bit on what he's been able to do in the portal. Again, we don't have any good feel as of yet because it's June, but doesn't this feel as if he's got as much skill as SDSU football has had in a number of years?
Absolutely. And I think you go through the list and you see a player like Marquez Cooper, who after rushing for over 1,000 yards in 3 consecutive years is getting back into the offense where he really broke out and became a star in the MAC. And I think he right away makes the Aztecs better, and all of the, Phil Still, Athlon Sports, all the preseason predictions for all conference that have come out. He's always the highest Aztec that's ranked. But then you also have a guy like Jay-Sean Polk, who again played at Kent State, played for Sean Lewis, did really, really well, so much so that he got the transfer to West Virginia, was injured, didn't really play, but he's looked really good. And then, Lewis Brown, the fourth, he is just, he's one of those guys that, when Aztec fans, I'm sure they saw him already at the spring game, but he's somebody that, walking off the bus, you go, okay, that's somebody that we have to pay attention to. And so I think they have been able to put a collection of talent, and it goes back to just what we talked about at the very beginning, is just that reputation. People want to play in a system that is going to feature all the things that they do in the NFL, and then also play so fast that you're going to get a lot of opportunities to be able to do some damage and show what you can do.
For this upcoming season here, Paul, what would, I guess, concern you more? What's one thing that you are concerned about? Was the defensive line or the offensive line?
Between those two, I think I would be more concerned about the defensive line. I think that with the offensive line, I think they actually have the makings of a pretty good interior line. And because obviously with offense, you're able to design what you're doing, you can kind of accent your strength a little bit better, and you can, keep a tight end if you feel like one of your tackles is in what they need to be. You can slide your protection, you can put a back there, etc. But on the defensive side, if they have a weak link up front, every team is going to exploit it until the Aztecs can figure out how to clog it. And, it's interesting. We'll see exactly how everything breaks down. But, Eric Schmidt, obviously he was the defensive coordinator. He was a defensive coordinator at the FCS level, then at Washington the last few years. And just exactly like how his defense is going to look personnel wise, I think is really interesting. Because typically in the 4-2-5, you got some really, really big guys up front. And, you look through the roster, potentially Sam Benjamin, who's a transfer from Arizona State, he might be able to be kind of that bigger body guy. But you're not really sure who that is. And so I think until either the recipe of Eric Schmidt's defense and how they're going to use kind of stunting and attacking and maybe a little bit quicker guys, or a guy steps up who can be that space eater, I think that's got to be the place that you're thinking is an issue.
Paul Garrison with us right now, covers San Diego State football and San Diego State athletics for the East Village Times. So you wrote here recently, Paul, about San Diego State's true freshmen and who may get some opportunities in 2024. For our listeners, give us maybe a name or two in terms of you're confident will have an opportunity to potentially contribute for San Diego State as a true freshman on the Mesa in 2024.
A couple of names I think that maybe we're not talking about is Will Cianfrini, who is a wide receiver from Carlsbad. He transferred from Texas, got to play with Julian Sayin at Carlsbad. And honestly, if anybody's paying attention to him, it might be because of what he did as a basketball player. Carlsbad went to the Open Division, won the Open Division in basketball, and there was just some kind of moments where his dunks, 360 through the legs, moments that went viral. And I think that, he's somebody who I think can really add something to the wide receiver core with, 6'4", can obviously jump through the roof. And then I think you look at Cody Cornelius, who is a defensive tackle. He is a little bit short in stature, 6'1". He's not, kind of that 6'3" guy, but he's already over 300 pounds. And going back to Jim's question, just about how do you look at how they're going to kind of clog that defensive line, he might be somebody that they're going to turn to.
And then finally, Paul, just when you think about where are they right now in the regimen of they're in the summer conditioning phase right now, and then they'll get to fall camp. What's our timeline here to get to fall camp as they play again the final week of August?
That's exactly it. And I mean, it's incredible the breakneck pace that these guys go at. I mean, their coaching staff has recently had 2 passing tournaments where they've had 48 teams each week come out and be able to kind of showcase what they're able to do. And then they also had a skills camp, tons of offers. They have 2 pretty big recruiting weekends, definitely one this weekend coming up, where you don't be surprised to see a handful of commitments for the class of 2025. And then they're trying to, with Jeff Sobel, the players are working through that. The freshmen are coming in. Some of them are already there. And then they're going to be pointing to fall camp and getting it going. Like you said, it's right around the corner.
Excited for it. Of course, you can hear these games right here on San Diego Sports 760. The Aztecs will get underway against Texas A&M Commerce at the end of August. The Sean Lewis era is here. Paul, we're looking forward to it. Thank you for your time. We'll do it, I'm sure, a number of times before the start of the season. And thanks for hopping on today.
Thanks, Paul.
Absolutely, guys. And I don't think I've spoken to you guys since, John's birthday, Jim's nuptials. So cheers to you guys' success.
Oh,
we
thanks,
appreciate that, man.
Appreciate
Seriously,
it.
thank you. Thank you. Paul Garrison, great resource for Aztec fans. Really, really is. If you're not following him across social media channels, you should be.
So you know about this because I told you. But
what's that?
But Brent doesn't know, and obviously our audience doesn't know this. I got an email today.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that like?
So it was amazing.
Did
it was
it ding?
awesome. It did not ding.
Okay.
But I got an email from the Mountain West.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Says, Dear Jim Russell.
This is incredible, actually.
Dear Jim Russell, thank you for being a member of the media panel voting on the 2024 preseason All Mountain West football team.
Like, what? Did you get the right email? Do they think you're me? Because I got an email too.
Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, I will be.
I know what. Because we're going, probably.
I know we're going and we're part of it.
But did you vote last year? Because we went last year.
I didn't vote last year. I did not get this email last year.
Wow.
So
maybe they sent it to whoever went last year.
Maybe.
I feel like I would have seen it. I didn't see anything. So I am so now I need to vote on the All Mountain West football preseason team. 128-member all-conference team will be selected. You will also be asked to vote on offensive, defensive, and special teams preseason player of the year awards.
All right, quickly off the top of your head, then give me your 1 through 12 predicted order of finish.
Dude, John, bro.
Yeah. Just quickly run off the top. Predicted order of finish 1 through 12.
You predict an order of finish.
I'm not going to do that right now, but we'll look at it. They provide a lot of numbers for you.
I know. There's a bunch of links here to things, but I thought that was interesting.
Dude, you're moving on up in the world.
I am.
You're voting for preseason and postseason awards now in the Mountain West football?
And people can yell at me on social media. Like, I can't believe you picked this person
to be
the special teams player of the year, you idiot.
I love it. All right, here's the deal. Call right now if you want a free 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. What do you have, Brent?
You should just vote for somebody that nobody else is going to vote for. So then when all the votes come in, you'll be that guy like, oh, everyone voted for so-and-so except for one person.
One vote.
Who's that a-hole? And then they can be like, oh, it's some guy, Jim Russell from San Diego.
877-767-4760. Call right now. We have a free 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair going on right now in Del Mar. Let's look back, have some fun together, and go retro. Tickets and info at sdfair.com. Call right now. First 2 callers will be contestants for trivia. We'll play on the other side. You need to call right now for a free 4-pack of tickets. Great value. Great prize. It's a beautiful week in San Diego. 877-767-4760. Call right now. Trivia. That's next. All right, an update in Padres Phillies plus a giveaway on the other side. Plus, we'll tell you about our giveaway in the 5 p.m. hour next. All right, by the way, coming up 5 o'clock out, the Doobie Brothers Gym are here. I mean, not right now. They're in the building. No, but we had like Red Power Ranger and whatever other colors you guys have had. Black and blue. Hello. What were the colors?
The colors are red, blue,
That we're
black,
here.
pink,
Oh, in the show.
green, and then white.
No.
6.
7. Green and white.
So there was original red, blue, black, yellow, pink. 5. Then they brought in a 6th Ranger, which was the Green Ranger. Later on, the Green Ranger became the White Ranger. And then for a while, it was those 6 colors until they changed going back to 5. And then they had red, green, blue, pink, yellow. And then the original Red Ranger came back to the show to become the Gold Ranger, back to 6. And then they went on to like just do new season after new season. And then it was kind of like, whatever.
TMI. Way too much.
My Power Rangers knowledge is scary.
Significant.
It's scary how good it is because it's like in my brain and it will never go away because of how much I watched it when I was a kid.
When they added a new color, was it like a huge deal to you?
Massive deal.
Like bigger than when like the M&Ms brought back red?
That's the analogy I was going to use.
Way bigger.
That was massive.
Way bigger.
When we were kids.
When they brought in the Green Ranger and then turned him into the White Ranger, I actually have a video from a Christmas in like 1996.
Put it on Twitter.
When I got for Christmas Saba, the White Ranger sword. And I was losing my mind.
I think I've seen that. I think you've shared that with me.
I have.
Seriously, yeah. You were like 5 or something?
I was like singing and dancing, and it was the greatest like Christmas of my life.
How old were you?
5 or 6?
Teen?
17.
All right, let's play.
This is senior graduation gift.
Would love it, actually.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Abraham and Dan. Abraham, you called in first, so you have your choice of Power Ranger Jim or John. Who do you want to go with?
Jim.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do this, Abraham. Dan, you get John, okay?
All right.
All right, Brent, what is the already off to a way better start than yesterday?
Way better.
Way better. Brent, what's the question of the day?
All right, guys, we talked a little bit about it earlier. The Florida Panthers are going for their first Stanley Cup tonight. Did you know there are 7 teams with at least 5 Stanley Cups? Today's question, name any of those 7 teams with at least 5 Stanley Cups.
I like that question.
Okay.
Dan.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about the rules here. How do we get this thing underway? Who starts?
Dan is up first.
So we're going to go back and forth, guys, one guess at a
Yeah.
time, and each of you has a lifeline. 3 rounds of this.
Yeah. So Dan, what is your first guess? And you do have your lifeline, which is John, if you want to use it.
Yeah, I'm going to say Detroit Red Wings.
That's a great one.
Very good guess. Yeah. Very good.
Do you know why they throw the octopus on the ice?
Why?
Because I think it used to take 8 wins to win a Stanley Cup. 2 rounds of best of 7. 8 legs. The more you know, Jim.
Abraham, you're up
Mr.
next.
Hockey over here.
What's your first guess? You do have your lifeline, which is me, if you want to use it.
From Detroit.
Yeah. Okay.
I will do the Red Wings.
The Red Wings were
you just said that.
Just said, yeah. So pick another team.
Then let's try the Rangers.
The Rangers.
New York Rangers. 5 seems like a lot.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot. But
No!
Man. Dan, you're up next. What's your second guess? You do have your lifeline if you want to use it.
I'm going to say the Edmonton Oilers.
Edmonton Oilers. 5? Well, they did have,
Yeah, Gretzky. They didn't win.
Gretzky.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they did have
I didn't realize
a
that.
lot of success in the 80s, John.
They have 5.
Yeah.
Wow. They didn't win 5. Oh, Gretzky did that?
I think they did.
Okay. Mr. Hockey over here, apparently.
Abraham, back to you. You're going to need the correct answer here to stay in the game. What is your second answer? And you do have your lifeline if you want to use it.
Let's do the lifeline.
I will go with the. Ooh, this is a tough. I'll go with the Colorado Avalanche. Do you take that, or do you have another guess?
I was gonna guess the Penguins, but
Ooh, okay. Hey, whatever.
No,
you want.
hold on. What do you want? Avalanche or Penguins? Your call.
Your call, man.
oh man, let's do Penguins for this one. I don't know.
All right, Penguins.
Wow. Okay.
Ooh.
I think I was probably
Yeah,
wrong.
I was going to say that's a terrible guess.
I know. Dan, back to Dan, back to you.
He can win it, right?
You can win it right here with the correct answer, and you do have your lifeline. So, what do you got?
I'm gonna say the Boston Bruins.
I agree with that.
That's very good guess.
Boom for the win. Look at Dan,
knows
Mr. Hockey.
Dan knows hockey.
Mr. Colorado Avalanche. They've been around for like 10 years.
They have a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, a couple, I think. Not 5.
They have 3.
Bit close.
Kind of. Let me guess. We have Pittsburgh, Detroit, Boston. Who else has been named so far?
Edmonton.
I'll give you Montreal.
Yeah, they're number 1, 23.
Canadiens.
And I will give you Toronto.
Yep, they're number 2, 13.
And I will give you another one of the originals. Who else are we missing out of the originals?
Chicago.
And the Chicago
Yes.
Blackhawks. Boom.
Yep, that's
Is
it.
that all of them?
Yep.
And the Colorado Avalanche and the Florida Panthers. And the
The
Quebec
New Jersey
Nordiques.
Devils.
Yeah. And the San Jose Sharks. And the Anaheim Ducks.
Not even close for the Sharks.
All right.
Devils
so
only have 3.
that's actually, yeah, Devils have had some success. All right. So Dan has won a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair going on right now through July 7th at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Let's look back, have some fun together, and go retro. For tickets and info, go to sdfair.com. Keep listening this week for more opportunities to win. Next hour, you can win tickets to see the Doobie Brothers a week from tonight at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. On the other side, we will check in on what's going on right now in Philadelphia between the Phillies and the Padres as we kick off hour 3 of Jon and Jim. That's next.
Padres finally have a hit, John. It's the 5th inning. This update's brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy. Padres Phillies game 2 of their series. Phillies lead 1-0. Top of the 5th inning there as the Padres just got their first hit of the game by Donovan Solano. And the Celtics are the NBA champions. They beat the Mavericks last night, closing them out in 5 games, their first championship in 16 years and 18th overall as a franchise. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
Previously on Jon and Jim.
No team's offense is built to overcome 7-1 and 6-1. Those teams don't win trailing by 5-6 runs. So, not to alibi the offense, but the pitching's been terrible now the last couple of days.
So is the offense, John. It's like the offense is like shown up
They
at all.
scored 6 runs?
That was the fakest 6-run comeback I've ever seen.
That's fair. I don't disagree.
Now, it's time for Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is the final hour of Jon and Jim, which means the hour you're going to win Doobie Brothers tickets, potentially. One of our listeners will win Doobie Brothers tickets this hour. It is a week from tonight at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. This is coming up on June 25th. There's 2 sides to this story, Padres Phillies. Okay? Just let me say this real quick. There's good news, bad news. The good news is the Padres, as you just said, have a hit. The bad news is they've sent the minimum to the plate through 5 innings. 15 batters. They have 1 single. There's also been a strike him out, throw him out double play. And the Phillies lead the Padres 1-0 after yesterday, the 9-2 loss. So the good news is they have a hit. That's the goal. Like the goal is compile hits, and then you get runs as you move around the bases.
Score points.
Right. You get points or runs. The bad news is 15 up through 5 innings for the Padres.
Well, don't worry. As Mike Shildt relayed to the media last night, thanks to the ace man, this team's one of the best teams at getting hits in the final 4 innings of games.
Truthfully, it's 1-0. We'll see what happens. 1-0.
And truthfully, that's the dumbest stat on the planet, but
you don't like that stat?
To each their own.
You don't like the 6th inning or later stat?
Who comes up with that stat?
Let me see the stat. I haven't seen the stat.
It's somewhere because...
So wait, what's the stat that they're one of the best teams in baseball in terms of hits in the final 4 innings of a game?
Yes.
I need to see that stat.
Well, it's dark out with, partly cloudy conditions and temperatures below 62 degrees.
Qualifiers.
Right, yeah.
Okay, so...
And 1 outs in each inning.
We can... There's a lot of...
Against right-handed pitching.
There's a lot we can get to here this hour, and we will. I just want to say this. If you miss... Remember this weekend when Manny Machado was ejected for arguing balls and strikes? A lot of Padres fans do, right? He gets run. It happens. Wasn't upset with the pitch. It was out of the zone. Mike Shildt, as anyone would expect, when your star player gets run or tossed, of course the manager is going to come out, defend his player. You actually have to, because if Manny just stays up there, what if he gets suspended because he does something stupid? So they get Manny out of there, right? That's fine.
Yeah.
And Mike Shildt goes up. So we all saw this in real time, Jim. We're like, oh, wow, Shildt got tossed, Manny got tossed, such is life. Then John Boy, the content creator, does this unbelievable 3-minute video where he breaks down what Mike Shildt said to the plate umpire.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fascinating. I don't even know where to go with it other than this. We're not going to play it because there's a lot of cursing, but what he said to the umpire was, I get it. Run. You need to run.
I have to effing go.
I got to go. I'm not going to do the song and dance. This is what he basically said. I'm not going to kick and scream and yell. I respect what you're doing. You missed that pitch. You missed that leaping pitch, but I got to go. You get that? So I'm ready whenever you are. And then he got tossed and pretended like he was upset. So he orchestrated his own ejection following Manny Machado's ejection. Your thoughts on that?
Soft
on Shilt's part.
Soft
for not going through the actual motions.
Soft. It's in that moment, I find it very soft. Because it would be one thing if your team was like the Phillies or one of the best teams in baseball, or even whatever. Now you have to have Manny's back in that situation. And so by having Manny's back, you're just saying, hey, just throw me out of the game just so it looks good. Are you kidding me? Soft.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Now, I never would think that we would get access the way John Boy provided it, nor would Mike Shildt. Mike Shildt didn't realize someone would break down what he said. I promise you that. There's no way Shildt thought that was going to happen. He asked to be ejected from the game by the plate umpire.
The umpire says, I have to effing go. That's fine. You guys are doing a good job. Effing blew that effing pitch.
Yeah, he did say that.
But I don't want to play your game.
The game being that he yells at the umpire to get ejected.
Yeah, and it's really effing hard, and I'm frustrated, so send my ass off. So I'm ready whenever.
And then he got tossed.
And he throws him. He's like, oh, no.
I mean, that's unbelievable. Now, a couple of thoughts there, though, because, we spent the last 24 hours being like, why does Mike Shildt say what he does? And why did he say what he did about Manny Machado? This would actually be more evidence to kind of support your point that this is who he is. But then again, I would tell you right now, if we had Jesse Rogers on, every manager in the game would get ejected in that spot. Would you agree with that?
And a lot of managers have done the exact same thing that Mike Shildt has done. They go out there, they make it look like they're arguing, but all they're saying is just throw me out,
Yep.
do it. Just do it right now.
Yeah, 100%.
And they kind of, Shildt didn't want to do it in that situation. I'm looking at it from the side of this team needs some type of spark.
Mm-hmm.
This happened Sunday afternoon. Didn't happen Friday after they just got done sweeping the A's and having a 5-2 homestand.
It's when they were down 7-2 in the series finale.
About to get swept.
Right.
This team needs some type of spark. And Manny, it was a bad pitch. Okay. He's frustrated because he's not playing well. And that was a bad pitch. So I probably would have gotten rung too.
Yeah, it made sense.
Made sense.
Yeah.
But Shilty, like, you're just about to get swept. I think it's soft on the side of yes, I know that managers do it all the time, but like, dude,
you want it to show
here?
you want it to actually be authentic and real. As if there's any chance for your team to come back, why don't you get animated to maybe put some life into your team?
Something, because that's what managers do a lot of times. They're like, I'm gonna get thrown out here.
But maybe it does something.
I'm going out there and I'm gonna get my money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And to just go out there and be like, hey, I know you're doing a great job, but you gotta throw me out of this game, man. That was a bad call, but you gotta throw me out of this game. Really?
Yeah, you got to go out there and act like you actually have your guys back, not go out there and be like, oh yeah, you're doing a great job.
True.
I totally, I don't want to say anything, mean to you or anything. So just throw me out. So it looks like my player thinks that I have his back.
Yeah, let's go to that point, because now within 24 hours, you have Shildt with the backhanded compliment of Manny. If you want to go there, you can go there. If you listen to what he said post game, him saying, well, he hustled last night, basically saying he doesn't always hustle. You'd have to hear it. We have it. Yeah, we could play. Can we play that like 30 or 60 seconds where he starts talking specifically about Manny? You could absolutely argue it's a backhanded compliment. And then we get on social media here from John Boy, this huge publisher of content, that Mike Shildt didn't really fully defend his player. Now, he did say it was a bad bleeping pitch, but he was like, hey, I get it. It's all good. I think you're doing a good job. It's kind of twice where you're not really fully defending your quote unquote star. Is that a fair angle there with Manny? I mean, this is Mike Shildt last night on Manny and hustling.
And I'm not ever going to alibi lack of effort. But also, again, if you play 162 games and you're playing with something you're banged up on, being able to pick your spot to regulate is part of it. It just is. It's widespread. It has been. It will be in this league. Not to say like not giving effort appropriately when you have it. That's the key. When you have it, you give it. And so he gave it tonight. And like I said, he just came off a soft tissue issue, and he was able to get himself back to where he was today. So I think any regular you're going to see play, there's going to be some regulation of effort level, whether it's Manny or pretty much anybody in this league. Somebody's going to post 150 to 160 times a year.
Okay. I mean, it's just the more I hear him speak, the more I just roll my eyes in the back of my head as far as I possibly can. Like, just go out and win baseball games. Just go and compete and be better.
Mm-hmm.
And, stop underperforming, stop being so inconsistent, hit left-handed pitchers for once, don't go into skids, like, go be a better baseball team, you know? Like, everything Mike Shildt says, yes, we're going to talk about it, depending on what he says, because he's the manager of the team. If anybody says here and thinks that we're not gonna and we should not cover what the manager of the baseball team says, I don't know what to tell you, because we're not talking about the third base coach saying something, unless he said something crazy, or whoever. It's the manager of the team. You know what happens in New York when Aaron Boone says something stupid or does something dumb?
Well, everything is dissected.
Guess what? It's dissected. Yeah. It happens everywhere.
And players here in San Diego, by and large, now Kevin will include a player quote or two. Players don't talk a lot.
No.
There's not a lot of access. I mean, Dennis, we haven't even touched on this. I mean, Dennis quoted Manny last night in his article today in The Athletic. How have we not touched on this? Where Manny basically said, you know, people aren't going to like it, maybe, but that's their own opinion about his hustle.
Bring that up.
You haven't seen this quote?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
All I know from Dennis is his question last night to Shildt about Manny and his effort. Do you have that, Brent?
That's what he just played.
He just played
Oh,
it.
sorry.
That's what he played.
My bad.
You're losing your mind.
I know I am.
Hold on. Let me find this quote.
Because it's so hard sometimes to listen to Shildt. I just tune it out completely.
Hold on. Let me read this quote, because this is kind of your type of ammo. I'm almost surprised you didn't mention it. Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, you've got a narrative you need to.
There's no narrative, John.
I'm kidding.
Jeez.
Lord. Okay, here we go. Okay. Machado said after the game that his hip was, listen to this quote, still a little tight, but improving. He received a question about optics. For years, his seemingly casual style on the field has been an object of both admiration and frustration. Here's the quote. It's not my problem what they think, Machado replied. Everyone has an opinion. Manny Machado last night. We just got to continue to play. Shildt and the staff here have been putting us in a good situation to put ourselves in a better situation come the trade deadline or even September. I think that's our main goal, is trying to make it to the postseason and get deep into the postseason. Manny Machado last night to Dennis Lim.
Again, just
everyone has an opinion.
Yeah, well, here's my opinion, Manny. Be better. Okay, you suck right now. That's the opinion. And guess what? It's not just mine. It's a lot of people's opinion.
Let me read it again. It's not my problem what they think. Okay. Everyone has an opinion.
So disrespect the fan base even more. Go ahead. Do it. Go out there, dog it, not hustle, suck, and disrespect the fan base, and go to your Coronado house because you want $350 million from Peter Seidler and hijacked the entire spring training last year to get your money. Go do it.
This is why I called it ammo.
Go do it. Go. Those people. Give me a break. Seriously?
Those people. Hold on. Let me read it.
Because it's not just us. He's talking about probably a lot of the fans that are critical of Manny and were on his ass on Friday night.
So a shot at the fans.
So you want to throw a shot at the fans? I mean, go right ahead. But guess what? Your play on the field ain't helping anybody. And the longer that this goes on, the more the fan base is going to tell you, just go away.
It's not my problem what they think. Everyone has an opinion about the optics of his casual style.
And this kind of plays right.
So, man,
it plays right into a lot of people. And we don't have this opinion on this show, but there's a lot of the fan base that their opinion is these guys just got paid and, you know, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going out there and these underperforming millionaire athletes that got their money and now they don't give a crap anymore. It plays right into that narrative, buddy. And one of your best friends, Eric Hosmer, basically tried to say a joke today on social media that came off as completely arrogant and stupid.
Which was basically, once he got paid, that's all that he was.
Which is the narrative that people are using because you right now are not getting it done. And you haven't been getting it done since you got your fat contract. So those people, give me a break, dude. Go out there and hustle one time. Go, I don't know, have a clutch hit. Go out there and have a week where you have 3 home runs. Like, give me a break. Those people.
I mean, I'll tell you what. The part of me, and I've said this a lot, part of me truly respects his authenticity, his willingness to, like, really be that brash. Like, this is the opposite Mike Shildt effect of Manny Machado. This is how you become nationally relevant in a sport that isn't national. Manny Machado actually is polarizing. He is recognizable across sports. It's incredible. There's very few baseball players. I would argue he's much more polarizing and recognizable than like a Freddie Freeman. It's like, for me, Manny's right there at the top of polarizing baseball figures. That's not necessarily a good thing. It's not necessarily a good thing. And he can rub people the wrong way. And you're right. 40,000 people there every single night. And he's saying it's not my problem what they think. Dude, that, I mean, they're paying your patience. They really are. The reason you were able to be in a position to get that is because you have to play here with this type of ownership group that's committed to you. But it's not my problem what they think. I mean, some of me respects his willingness to say that. Who on earth would say that? But part of me is like, you got to be careful doing something like that. I can feel the fan base turning on him. You can as well. I see it everywhere.
Imagine if like LeBron James after a game and he's going through a shooting slump and his team's losing and he's asked about like whatever lack of hustle on defense and he's like says those exact same words that Manny Machado said. Destroyed.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Like you said earlier, Mike Shildt isn't the head coach of a football team in the NFL.
No.
If he was, they'd be playing it all day on those talking head shows. Manny Machado will end up on an FS1 show occasionally, but it's been years, Jim, because baseball doesn't cut through like that unless it's Shohei Ohtani. Of course, Ohtani's the most relevant baseball player, but it doesn't cut through like that. So it's almost like you can, quote unquote, get away with it, right? Like if you're Manny, you can get away with it. If you're Shildt, you can get away with it because there's not that discourse nationally like there would be in football or the NBA.
Kind of blown away. I didn't even realize that
you
was
didn't
something.
know that?
I didn't know.
What
You
did
didn't
you
know
do
that?
Yes, I do. I did.
Well,
I just didn't bring it up.
Here's the thing. If Dennis doesn't like tweet it out, it's hard. I don't like.
I think he did.
Did he tweet it out?
Well, all you have to follow, dude, we have a couple of producers. We have Talking Friars, who produces the
He
show.
did not
we have
tweet it out.
Well, Talking Friars produces the show. You follow Talking Friars.
Did he put this out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't see it. Sorry, I didn't see it.
Everyone was talking about. You must have been sleeping. I'm serious. It might have been in the morning.
Hold on.
It might have been in the morning. What were you doing this morning? Watching Red Power Ranger or something? I would think you'd see this as our social media director.
This was at 8:42. I think
you were sleeping.
No, I just woke up.
Okay.
Like I woke up probably just right then.
And it didn't really get much traction. The second I saw it, I'm like, oh, wait till Jim sees this. Oh, my.
It's not my problem what they think.
Yeah. Jim is going to lose his mind.
Well, I'm not.
You kind of lost your mind.
But that's how I view it, though. I view it as him taking a shot at the fan base.
Yeah, no, I think you're probably spot on. It's not the first time we've seen him say something like that.
If someone's booing him for not hustling up the first baseline, that's his response then to the fans that are booing him or criticizing him or have a problem with how Manny goes about his business.
Or is he saying it's social media?
Probably a little bit of both, but still, here's the thing. Even though social media isn't the whole story and it's not even close to the whole story, they're still fans.
Mm-hmm.
They're still like, most of them are real people, as cynical as they may be, right? As harsh as Twitter may be at sometimes, they're still real fans,
right?
They still count. They're not just like fake bots. They're real people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's their opinion. It's not the opinion of everybody. Okay, it's not the opinion of the 40,000 people that fill up Petco Park every night. But I guarantee you, there's a lot of those fans in Petco Park that are saying these things on social media about Manny Machado.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So again, to me, feels like a shot at the fan base for criticizing Manny for, these types of things.
If nothing else, Manny's going to be who he is. Now, you'd like to see him be who he is on the field and produce for a team that sorely needs him right now. Maybe pick up a game in Philadelphia or something. Right? They just need him. Really, they absolutely do. Or Luis Campusano. They need him too. We just did a 2-run run to get the lead in Philadelphia off Aaron Nola, who had been pitching it beautifully. So that is an interesting turn of events. But yeah, I mean, obviously, the Padres need Manny Machado. No question about it.
Yeah, they will. They're going to need Manny Machado. Crazy how like that conversation is a conversation that's still being had today for a almost 32-year-old veteran about his effort level. Like a guy that's making $350 million.
Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, we started the day talking about his effort level, and then we kind of end the day talking about what he says about people's reactions to his effort level. Like, yeah, I mean, it time's a flat circle with that stuff. The conversation about Manny and hustle and effort, like Dennis wrote about there, has been going on since the beginning of time.
And it wouldn't be as big as of a conversation, I feel like, if he was just performing.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
So, like,
it wouldn't in 2022. Nobody cared if he took a playoff, whatever.
It's as simple as that. Like 2019, no one in this town was going to talk about how Manny literally quit on them in 2019 and was a big reason why Andy Green got fired. Okay, and how the rest of that team quit on Andy Green. Right. And you heard a little bit more of it in 2021 when they pretty much revolted against Jace Tingler and Manny bought everybody eyewash t-shirts. Okay. And, we didn't hear any of it in 2022, obviously, because he had an MVP season and Bob Melvin was going to take that crap. And then last year, it went from going at the manager and revolting against the manager to literally revolting against each other in that clubhouse. And then we got to the point where we got to with last year happening. And now we're at this year where it's like, we're talking about his hustle. I mean, what are we doing?
I don't really know.
It's ridiculous.
But I really don't. But I do know this. Coming up in our next segment, on the other side, we will give away 2 free tickets to see the Doobie Brothers at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater a week from tonight. So we have Doobie Brothers tickets to give away. We'll do that on the other side. Plus, how did the NBA Finals stack up on television? Big markets, Boston and Dallas. How did it stack up on television? Plus Jim's back page. Stay with us. So imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt free, no credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. Loan Project's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners can turn their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home, and you can use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves $850. Listen, your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Maybe you use some money for home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approvals just moved away. Here's the number to call. It's 619-207-4336. Again, 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. That's 619-207-4336. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Equal housing lender.
World Series back on. This update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy. Padres, Phillies game 2 of their 3-game series. Padres now lead 3-1, top of the 6th inning, thanks to a Luis Campusano 2-run home run and Jerkson Profar RBI single. And last night, NBA Finals concluded with the Boston Celtics beating the Dallas Mavericks to win their first championship in 16 years, an 18th championship in the history of the franchise. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
All right, we joked about them being really good in the 6th inning or later, Jim. Well, they have been tonight. They're amazing. A 3-1 lead. Everyone can relax for a moment, right? This is what happens internationally. Not too much. Still win a game. Still win a game. Now, they may or may not do that, but they're up 3-1 right now in the 6th inning. So
how do you line up the rotation for the postseason?
Well, I think in Philadelphia, are you talking?
Yeah.
For the National League Championship Series?
Yeah. Like, do you go...
Whatever they did today is what I start with.
You go King, Waldron, game 1, 2, and then you come home
and
you go...
Cease and Darvish and Musgrove.
Darvish, Cease, and Musgrove. Yeah, I like that.
They should just do like a reverse rotation and just put all their bullpen guys to start the game, and then put the starters in after the 6th when they actually are good.
Yeah.
Start the game in the 6th inning.
Start the game in the 6th inning.
Game, yeah.
Right. And they'll be really good. Just make sure everyone like feels like it's the 6th inning or later.
But this is why I said they're fine. No matter what happens tonight.
Well,
they're fine.
No one's saying
people are saying things.
On this show.
People are saying
we're not saying it's like
no,
over.
but people are reacting very strongly, as they should be, as you should be as a fan. Make no mistake, we react strongly to things as well. I'm just saying, no matter what happens here, win a game in Philly, don't. All right, well, we got a lot to go here.
People are worried because this team has let down their fan base time and time again over the last year and a half.
Sure.
Right?
I rightfully worry.
3 of the last 4 years, it's been let down. Right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, this team was supposed to be this team. If we're going to be honest, they were supposed to win 80. I think Vegas had them in 82 wins. So, I mean, they're right where Vegas pegged them. So, like, we don't know if this team will let people down or not. We will know, but we don't yet know if that's the case or not. So we'll keep an eye on the Phillies and the Padres. NBA Finals goes 5 games, right? We waited 10 days for this epic NBA Finals. It wasn't very epic. It's the lowest rated non-COVID finals since 2007. So the lowest rated non-COVID finals. Now, COVID finals include 2020 and 21. So it was better than those 2 years. Other than that, you have to go all the way back to 2007. Why? Playoff, bad series, wrong team in Dallas. Combination of all of it.
A little bit of I don't think Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown really hit as far as like big time superstars go, and maybe the people didn't want to watch Luka complain all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Kyrie, even though he's an amazing player, isn't somebody that people are like, I need to watch Kyrie play basketball tonight. Maybe, like you got the NBA Finals, which was a dud.
It was a dud. You're right.
Absolute dud. And I don't know why it truly was a dud. But those are my takes, is that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they don't really stand out as like the superstar players that the NBA wants them to be. And Luka complains all the time, and Kyrie is not like a big time draw.
Game 5 was over at halftime.
Every game was just
Game 4 was over at halftime. Right.
Yeah.
Game 3 had the Luka.
But that even game 3, the Mavericks were trailing by 20-something points. We came back. So it wasn't like it was a back and forth game close
None
the
of
entire
them
way
were
out.
iconic, amazing game. Yeah, the most discussion out of the entire finals was Brian Windhorst saying, hey, Luka, you need to learn to like grow up.
Jason Tatum, again, just comes off as a very cringe. And again, maybe it's because I don't like the Celtics.
A little cringe.
Like he's pulling out the stuff that is everybody said what we would do or what we would do if we didn't win. I guess we'll never know. Like, come on, bro. It's not really original. I get it.
Right.
I know you're looking for that viral moment to like stick forever, but that ain't it.
I mean, the thing is, he doesn't need to be anything other than what he is now, which is an NBA champion. You know, like when you win with Boston, you've won with. It's a big deal. I don't know if he's gonna get like 3, 4, 5 with them, but you know, he might get another. I mean, he absolutely could end up with multiple rings.
What did he say? He said something along the lines of, "I've been hearing people say a lot of about me the last couple of years. What they gonna say now?" Well, here's the thing, Jason. You know, if Steph Curry is going to get criticized for not winning a Finals MVP until he won one in 2022, you're probably going to be like a little criticized here if you don't win a Finals MVP.
Who won Finals MVP?
Jaylen Brown.
Oh, did he? I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
I thought Tatum led the team in like all offensive categories.
Jaylen Brown won the MVP.
Okay. But again, it's hard to hate. Listen, you might just not like him because Boston, that's fine. But it's hard to hate the day after they win the NBA Finals.
No,
I mean,
he's
still young enough, right? How old is he? He's in his
26.
20s. Yeah, I mean, this guy, nobody should be saying right now, hey, he's the next. They should say he's the next Michael Jordan because that's all they say.
Right.
But he could end up with multiple rings. By the way, one's pretty good too.
But it says something though that they're not saying that.
Right,
if Luka won or if Anthony Edwards won, and it would be like, this is the next big thing. I'm not saying about Jason Tatum at all. Even Jaylen Brown.
Is it because they also they've been in the league longer? They're drafted in what years? 16 and 17 or 17 and 18?
Back-to-back years.
Yeah, with third overall picks. Second pick. Sixers had first picks. Sixers could have them both. Lakers could have them both. Celtics and the Sixers are Lakers. Who knows what LeBron James. But it wasn't a great fun. And there's the thing, Stanley Cup, we're looking at the exact same thing. Nothing iconic, nothing memorable. If it ends in 5 games, because even I don't watch hockey. You watched a little this weekend?
A little. Yeah, I actually did watch almost the entirety of Game 5. But if you just told me, like, hey, there's a Game 7 in hockey tonight for the Stanley Cup, winner wins it all. Like, I'd be like,
I'd be down.
I might turn that on.
No, I would turn that on.
Game 7 NBA Finals. I'm tuning that on.
Of course.
Even in Game 6, and the series has been back and forth. I'd be like,
I went home and turned it on, and I watched Pritchard hit some 50-footer to go up 21 at the half. I'm like, it's over. They're not losing a 20-something point home lead to win the NBA Finals. They didn't. They stretched out there in the second half.
Yeah. I'm not saying that they need to do anything because I don't think they can do anything. It's not the players. Right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
But
are they going to change the game?
I do think that there is one thing that is really annoying for the fans. And it's during the NBA Finals, all that's being talked about majority of the time is anything but the NBA Finals.
Okay.
It's
the Lakers head coaching circumstances and
how LeBron and LeBron. It's like maybe your product people would view more if you hyped up the actual product.
That's what I was thinking about Sunday Night Baseball. Why are we doing some we're watching Padres Dodgers and talking about the Yankees and the Red Sox? Why are we doing that? Why can't we just appreciate the game in front of our 2 eyes?
See what the NFL does an amazing job of.
Yeah, they don't do that.
Is on Thursday Night Football and Monday Night Football. Guess what they do? They only talk about the game that they are airing that night. Same thing with like Sunday night. Well, Sunday Night Football, they run through all the games after that day, but they have everything go back to that game.
I think ESPN does a poor job with college football. It'll be like Penn State, Wisconsin tonight, Michigan, SC. Like, why don't you just concentrate on Penn State, Wisconsin that you're paying $1 zillion to broadcast? Why does everything have to be about like the playoff? Like, why can't we just appreciate it for what it is? And I do think there's an issue with that. You're in the NBA Finals and you're not treating it like it's the only thing. And it should be the only thing that matters. But Charles Barkley.
Who knows how to talk really
maybe that.
Talking about yeah. You know, they want to hear the X's and O's. They want to hear the drama. They want to hear everything but the X's and O's. And these players can't overcome that. They can't overcome like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are not big enough superstars to take over talking points.
Completely.
Same thing with Luka. Well,
maybe
Luka's talking point is he complains the rest of it, for example. Kyrie's talking point is he's Kyrie. It's Kyrie. Whatever, exactly. Right? But he's not, there's not Steph in the finals. There's no LeBron in the finals. And really, frankly, or even Kevin Durant. I think those are the only 3 players in the NBA that I can think of off the top of my head that would be just literally the main talking points the entirety of the NBA.
Real quick, Xander Schauffele, who won the PGA Championship, says Rory McIlroy is under more of a microscope than other golfers. That's at ESPN.com. Rory, of course, missing 2 short putts in the final 3 holes. Schauffele's had some tough Sundays in his career. Obviously, got over the hump within the last couple of months. McIlroy's had some darn good Sundays, but not in the last 10 years. But he did say he's under a different microscope than others, which is fair, right? Rory McIlroy is one of the most iconic golfers in the world. He is. I mean, I feel like if the same thing happened to Xander or someone, like, give me another golf, I don't think it would be perceived the same way. Maybe in the moment it would be. But I feel like with Rory, it's going to hang with him longer than if it happened with, I think Xander would be a decent example.
Or anybody else.
Yeah, don't you think so?
Ludwig Oberg.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Who was in the lead through like 2 rounds.
Right.
Yeah.
How
do you get over that? He's going to take the next 3 weeks off.
Good. Good for him.
Yeah.
I mean, that is
it's tough.
Dude, the golf, it's not a team sport. It is literally you versus yourself. Oh, I know.
Right.
But you versus yourself, you versus the ball, and
I know.
When
and then you got to think about it when you put your head on the pillow. How?
I wouldn't be able to sleep, dude.
No, you're watching the putt in your mind, multiple putts.
And it's a putt that you've made 1,000 times. And by the way, a putt you've made almost 500 times in a row. That you haven't missed at all this season. Crazy, man.
We have another fascinating quote from Manny Machado. We'll share on the other side, plus Jim's back page. All right, reaction to another comment from Manny Machado, plus an update from Phillies Padres and Jim's back page next. All right, so we forgot about our talkbacks, but we have one that we wanted to share with our listeners. Then we want to share a quote from Manny Machado to MLB.com. Then we can get to Jim's back page as well. This was off our talkback line. You can open the iHeartRadio app, hit that red talkback mic after searching for San Diego Sports 760. Leave a 30-second talkback. This was earlier today. That's a good talkback.
Ain't wrong.
That's a very good talkback.
That's how it. That's a perfectly perfect way to portray kind of how he goes about relaying this team to the media. The door of the plane just fell off. They're still flying. Everybody's fine. The door fell off, but
right.
You
Other
know.
than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how's the plane?
Yeah, we still got one good wing.
Yeah.
We're still in the air.
Real quick on this, we'll react to this tomorrow. But MLB.com quotes Machado last night as saying, "People think I'm a speedster, like I'm Hassan Kim or Ellie De La Cruz. I weigh 230 pounds. I've never been a fast runner in my entire career. I wish I had that speed because I would be a different player, but I don't." He then goes on to say, "I give my 100% every single time. It might not look like people want it to look like, but that's not who I am." Take it for what it's worth. Manny Machado, MLB.com. Let's get to this.
What's the most money you've ever won at like a casino?
Not more than like $2 million.
That's actually
no, I don't know.
not bad.
Kristen has won on slots 1,100, 1,200 a couple of times.
Really?
Wheel of Fortune, yeah.
Like
Wow.
$30 bucks.
Yeah.
No, we've won.
I think the most I've won is like $100.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not a lot.
Dude, you need to get out.
That's why I don't gamble because I
Well,
always lose.
A person at a California casino recently was gambling on a $5 machine, won $2 million.
Ooh.
Yeah. As the reel spun, the iconic Wheel of Fortune symbols aligned, triggering the life-changing jackpot, the casino said. The excitement on the casino floor was palpable as fellow guests and staff members gathered to witness the incredible win. So $5 on a Wheel of Fortune slot machine, and you win $2 million.
That's amazing.
Dude, I mean,
what would you even do?
The player who chose to remain anonymous, good call, won $2.75 million.
Oh, wow. Almost $3 million.
Almost $3 million here.
On a slot.
That's
amazing.
Insane, dude.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
What casino was it?
Yeah, it was, I don't know how to pronounce it. The COL USA Casino Resort.
What town is it in?
It's just Northern California.
Okay. All right, good for them.
They say that they're known for creating unforgettable experiences for our guests.
Apparently.
And this jackpot win is a testament to that.
That's right.
It really is.
Does everyone that goes there get 2.75?
I also think the casino's not sitting there being like, oh, we're so happy that someone won almost $3 million.
Yeah, I wonder if they are or aren't. That's a good point. It's a good PR.
I don't know, I would advertise it because it's just like when they advertise that they have the loosest slots around.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, they want people to think that they're going to win more at our casino opposed to next door.
McDonald's is ending a test run of artificial intelligence in drive-through lanes, pulling the technology from the 100 stores where it was in use. Quote, while there have been successes to date, we feel there is an opportunity to explore voice ordering solutions more broadly. The testing is currently going to be ending on July 26, 2024.
So I wonder what happened. Were people like, hey, what should I order? And like, you should order Burger King. And like, oh, no. We don't want you saying that.
A TikToker documented her struggles while ordering an ice cream and a cup of water in a video. She captioned, fighting with McDonald's robots.
My guess is it would be kind of like when you want Siri to like auto like text something and you're like, you know, text Jon and Jim about Pizza Hut. And it's just like, pizza was invented in 1970 to where it's like, that's not what I told you. To where it's like, yeah, can I get a large fry and a Coke? And it's just like, you want 3 Diet Cokes and an apple? No, I didn't want that.
Another person on TikTok shared their own experience writing, quote, the McDonald's robot is wild. The 2 occupants of the car are nearly overcome with laughter as their order, which is 2 10-piece McNuggets, is accompanied by a McDonald's meal order that starts at $211.80 and continues to climb to over $275. So yeah, that's not good. And by the way,
have you seen the price of a Happy Meal? That's about right these days.
It's about right. It's about right. Justin Timberlake got arrested on a DWI. There's now a mugshot of Did
he really?
Out there.
When was that?
That was last.
I saw something on social media, but I didn't put it together.
No, not that mugshot.
Driving while intoxicated. Long Island. Not great. No? Not great. Nope. I like that. All right, that's it for the back page. That's it for the show. We will be back Thursday, off tomorrow for the federal holiday of Juneteenth, and back Thursday
as far as mugshots go.
3 p.m. Is it a good mugshot or not?
It's not James Brown's mugshot. He over at least.
Oh, interesting. All right, we'll see you Thursday at 3 p.m. tonight for a wrap-up show on YouTube. If you missed anything, sportshistory.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760.